Trinitarians, I want to talk to you guys for a minute about Hebrews chapter 1, verse 2. And I also want to talk to you about chapter 1, verse 10, because you're portraying this as that's proof that Jesus is God. And not only that Jesus created the heavens and the earth, which is the Genesis creation, where God created the heavens and the earth. I'm going to start out with Hebrews verse 2. I'm going to start with verse 1 to get into verse 2. It says, long ago, at many times and in many ways, God spoke to our fathers by the prophets. Verse 2. But in these last days, he has spoken to us by his Son, whom he appointed the heir of all things, through whom he created the world. Now, Trinitarians, the part that you're picking up on is the fact that it says God has spoken to us by his Son, and he also says that through Jesus, he also created the world. Now, if it actually said that, then hey, it says that. That's no big deal to me. I would accept it, and I would say Jesus is the creator of the universe. No big deal. As long as it's true, I don't care. Problem is, it's not true. That word worlds, okay, or world, is translated from the Greek word aeon. And when you look up the definition of aeon to find out what does aeon mean, an age, a cycle of time. So my first question is the universe tangible? Is the earth tangible? Is the world tangible? Can I go out of my backyard and put my hand on the earth that was created by God? And the obvious answer is yes. So my next question would be, can you even touch an age or a cycle of time? Is it even tangible? Can you put your hands on an age? Can you put your hands on a cycle of time? Can I put my hands on 10 seconds? Can I put my hands on 7 hours? Can I touch it? Obviously, no. So I'm trying to figure out how the translators managed to translate it this way. And I've got my ideas. Just a quick insert. Just want to note also before I continue in this video, actually 125 times this Greek word aeon appears in the New Testament. And 124 times it is translated as age or time. Only once is it translated as world in the interlinear Bible. Only one time in the entire interlinear Bible is this translated as world, and it is this verse, Hebrews 1:2. So you can make of that what you like. But in any case, we definitely know that that word does not mean world or universe. Some translations even translate that as universe. So it's talking about a time period. So God made some sort of time period, some sort of period of time through Jesus. And if you will let the writer of Hebrews speak, you would know what that time period is. You would know what that's talking about, as well as other places in the Bible. Right before that it says, whom he appointed the heir of all things. All right, Jesus is separate and distinct from the Father. They are not the same person. They don't share the same mind whatsoever. Okay? But they are a part of one divine nature, one divine family. Okay? So according to you Trinitarians, Jesus created the heavens and the earth with God. But if that's the case, how can he become the inheritor of the heavens and the universe if that's what it's talking about? How can God give God his own belongings? How can he inherit it? You don't inherit something that already belongs to you. So understand that is not talking about the world. And I'm sorry that the English translators have failed you once again, because that's not what it's saying. All right. It's talking about an age of time. So anyway, going on to verse 10. Before I read verse 10, I want to read something out of Isaiah 51, 16. And this is a prophecy of Christ. This is something talking about, what Christ will do. And it says, I have put my words in your mouth. This is Yahweh speaking, by the way. because it starts in verse 15. All right, it says, I am Yahweh, your God, who stirs up the sea so that it waves roar. Yahweh of hosts is his name. Going on to verse 16. And I have put my words in your mouth and covered you in the shadow of my hand, establishing the heavens and laying the foundations of the earth, and saying to Zion, you are my people. Now this is a prophecy. And notice, how can this be prophecy? Because the universe has already been created. This is 700 years prior to Christ that this is written. So the universe has already been created. So how can this be a prophecy of the future? All right. So what is this establishing the heavens and laying the foundations of the earth that it's talking about? Okay. So there's a place, Barnes notes on the Bible. All right, and this is funny because this is a Trinitarian commentary. Okay. And it says, I have put my words in thy mouth. All right, then he goes on to explain it. He says, that is, he had committed his truth to the Jewish people. I'm just going to jump down to the question to the verses in question about the laying of the heavens and the earth. All right, so it says, but the language here is evidently entirely figurative. It refers to the restoration of the Jews to their own land, to the reestablishment of the religion there, to the introduction of the new economy under the Messiah. Remember we were talking earlier about age, through whom he created the ages? So it says the introduction of the new economy under the Messiah, and to all the great changes which would be consequent on that. This is compared with the work of forming the heavens. Keyword, compared, not the same thing, just you're comparing it to something, okay? This is compared with the work of forming the heavens and laying the foundation of the earth. It would require almighty power, and it would produce so great changes that it might be compared to the work of creating the universe out of nothing. Probably also the idea is included here that stability would be given to the true religion by what God was about to do, primacy that might be compared with the firmness and duration of the heavens and the earth. So here's a prophecy, and here's a Trinitarian commenter. Barnes notes on the Bible, and he's telling you what this is about. And he's saying that there's going to be, a new establishment, a new economy, a new age under the Messiah that can be compared to laying the foundations of the heaven and the earth. And if you haven't figured out where I'm going with this yet, then I don't know what else to tell you, because the writer of Hebrews, right along with that, says, speaking of Jesus, now this is Psalm 102 that he's quoting, and this is where it talks about how Yahweh laid the foundation of the earth in the beginning, and the heavens are the work of his hands, okay? So here the writer of Hebrews is taking something that applied to God, laying the foundation of the heaven and the earth, and now he's going to apply it in an application to Jesus. And you just read how it can be said that the new economy, the new creation, the new age, the new heaven, the new earth, and all that stuff can be compared to the original Genesis creation. But the thing is compared. So Barnes and Noble commentary understands that that's a comparison, but do you understand that Hebrews 1:10 is a comparison? It is not saying that Jesus literally laid the foundations of the earth and of the Genesis creation. It says, and you, Lord, laid the foundations of the earth in the beginning, and the heavens are the work of your hands. That is a quote from the Psalm that's being applied to Jesus, because the thing that Jesus is going to do, the new creation, can be compared to the original laying of the heavens and the earth. Even more so, Hebrews chapter 2, verse 5, which isn't that many verses later, Says, now it was not to angels that God subjected the world to come, of which we are speaking. Of which we are speaking. The world to come, of which we are speaking. The writer of Hebrews flat out tells you right here what he's talking about and what these comparisons are about. I mean, so this is just not saying, you guys are not understanding how the writer of Hebrews is applying these Old Testament passages to Christ. You're taking what you want literally, and then not, for example, in verse 5, for which of the angels did God ever say, you are my son, today I have begotten you? Or again, I will be to him a father, and he shall be to me a son. This is a quote from 2 Samuel 7:14 that was about Solomon. This was about Solomon, okay? Let me find something on this real quick. I just had it. Where'd it go? I guess it doesn't matter. But anyway, this was about Solomon. It was about the immediate successor to King David, and that's who this passage was about. But here Jesus is applying Hebrews 1:5 to Jesus. Why? Because God made Jesus his son. Similar, comparing it to how he did that for Solomon as well. It's a comparison. It's not the same thing. Okay? Now, and that's another thing. If you're going to apply Hebrews 1:10 and say Jesus was literally the one who laid the foundation of the earth from the beginning, and that is what the writer of Hebrews is doing, then why aren't you doing that in verse 5 when it's about Solomon? Was Jesus literally Solomon too? Is Solomon of the essence of Jesus, or vice versa? Is Jesus of the essence of Solomon? Because you're saying Jesus is of the essence of God, and that's why he laid the foundation of the earth. There's just no consistency. I mean, Isaiah 51:16 should just flat out tell you. Then it should just interpret it for you, what he's talking about. 51:16, I'll read it again. And I have put my words in your mouth and covered you in the shadow of my hand, establishing the heavens and laying the foundations of the earth, and saying to Zion, you are my people. This is a prophecy. He's going to say, you are my people. This is something that's going to happen in the future. This is not the Genesis creation. This is a prophecy. And then you have the commentary from your own Trinitarian commentaries that are saying the same thing. So just Hebrews 1 in no way is telling you that Jesus is the creator of the heavens and the earth. It's about the new economy. Hebrews chapter 1 verse 2. Through whom he also created the age, the new economy under the Christ. I've already proven to you that that word does not mean world. It's it. It means an age, the new economy under the Messiah, the new reign of Christ, the authorship of Christ. God has put a man over all his creation. And that is what this is talking about. And this new economy can be compared to the original laying of foundation of the earth, but it's not the same thing. It's just something that compares it. The same way verse 5 compares God making Jesus a son to Solomon. Okay, Jesus is not Solomon, but he's comparing the two. That's what the writer's doing. He's comparing these two things. Okay, and that's what he's doing here as well in chapter 10. He's comparing the new economy that is being founded in Christ to the laying of the earth in the beginning. It's a comparison. And it literally comes out of Isaiah 51:16. So all I'm saying is just let it be what it is. Jesus is not God. And the thing about it is all these explanations and all these, they're not necessary. It's not necessary to make Jesus God to explain the Bible. As a matter of fact, when you make Jesus God, you have to come up with all new doctrines. You got to come up with the dual nature. You got to come up with all kinds of stuff. And even then it doesn't work. Even then it's refuted. The Bible refutes all of these claims. So in any case, that's all I want to say about that. I hope you guys gain something out of it. Maybe, maybe not. But just all I can say is let it be what it is. There's no reason to make Jesus God. There's nothing in the Bible. Jesus is not God. He is a man. He is the Messiah. He is the appointed king. He is the heir of all things. God placed him over all his creation. But he is not Yahweh. God is one person. Shalom.